I can't overrule the boss. The boss is the boss. He says, kill that person, you got to do it. My 19 murders, 18 of them died.
He confessed to a life of murder, working his way up to become the underboss of the Gambino crime family in New York. He ratted out Mafia boss John Gotti to the government, and witness protection brought him to Arizona.
Now Sammy Gravano, known around the world as Sammy the Bull, is sharing never-before-revealed mob secrets in a tell-all interview. And you can hear this on the True Crime Arizona podcast with Brianna Whitney. And Brianna, this is probably one of the most highly anticipated interviews you've done to date.
Possibly ever, and it's also one we didn't originally plan on doing. So we had interviewed Sammy the Bull for a different crime case simply to learn about how the Mafia worked, but he was so forthcoming and shared so much about his life and Mafia involvement in the U.S. government, we knew we had to dive into an entire episode with him. And let me tell you, all of our listeners are in for a journey.
The fear of death rules. You break those rules, you die.
The second we walked into his office, Sammy the Bull Gravano was waiting for us, puffing a cigarette.
I was involved in 19 murders. I did 22 years of my life in prison. I became the underboss of the most powerful organized crime family in the country at that time.
Turns out the nickname came when he was a kid and took on bigger guys in fights as part of a New York street gang. Some mafiosos across the street got talking.
You see the way he was fighting, the two of them? He's like a little bull that's stuck.
Sammy would become second in command to Gambino family mob boss John Gotti, calculating hits.
And I became a more or less a professional hitman.
Did you want to be that?
No. I just seemed to be good at it.
But the thing is, Sammy turned on John Gotti in the 90s, ratting him out to the U.S. government and became part of witness protection. That's how he ended up here in Arizona after serving prison time before getting arrested again for leading an ecstasy ring.
I tell my family now, if somebody came down and killed me, don't be mad at them. If they don't listen to the boss, they will die. And I broke a rule. Why should they die for me?
And you still live with that?
Oh, absolutely.
But it was in witness protection where Sammy was asked to be a part of several closed-door meetings. This is when he started sharing secrets with me.
And they said, Sammy, we want to know everything you know about the assassination of Kennedy. The Vice President of the United States, Hoover, he was with the mob.
Hoover was?
Hoover was connected to the mob. You're going to see that the government has been was connected with the Mafia for a long, long time.
Deep connections?
Deep. They stood up. They said, this meeting is over. Get all of the notes, any notes, and destroy them. We were never here. And left.
There is so much on this episode, and you'll hear full details of those stories and what he knows about all of that in the podcast episode. And if you're wondering what Sammy does now, well, he has his own podcast and YouTube channel about the Mafia, and he lives here in Phoenix with his family, guys.
I can't believe you did this interview.
It was wild.
Because I gotta ask you, how does it feel to interview someone and to be sitting across from somebody like this? You usually see this in the movies.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
And I think what was so weird was comes off kind of likable because he's so open about everything. But there's a lot more that comes in this too. I want to kind of show you guys in terms of like other big topics that people can expect to hear. He talks about how he and John Gotti planned and executed the famous murder of mob boss Paul Castellano right outside a New York City steakhouse. He also talks about something a lot of people don't know about, his years in the military, serving in Vietnam. And another interesting moment in history, he talks about the Mafia being asked to kill Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. The whole thing is fascinating, and I should also probably note, I went to the Mob Museum in Las Vegas to learn a little bit more about all of this, and you interview him, and it's like, okay, what's true, what's not? Like, I mean, this seems crazy, right? And then I go to the Mob Museum, and all this stuff is basically being talked about in the Mob Museum. There's exhibits about it, and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
legit.
Everything you saw, he brought to life with the stories.
Yes, yes. So it is a crazy episode. It's probably my favorite episode we've ever done.
Well, he seemed really relaxed too. The cigarette, was there anything else that he did there while you were talking to him where you were like, wow?
No, I mean, he was just so chill. He was like, should I go get my hat? And I'm like, if you want.
Well, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want. But we walked in and I looked at Sergio, our photographer who was with us, and I was like, this is exactly what I expect, like the Godfather type aspect. You walk in and he's like, hello, I've been waiting for you. And I'm like, oh
gosh.
Wow.
That is definitely an experience for sure. I'm sure you won't forget.
No, it's wild. So
Nice
we hope
work,
our
nice
listeners
work.
like it.
Yes, they will, I'm sure. You got more?